Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agenda's a disguise. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone, and happy Saturday. It is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect, and to some, I am known as your social media lawyer. Please do me a favor. Hit that like button as you come in so that other people can get a notification. I haven't been on in over a week because some of you guys know, because I do talk to some of you guys offline, we lost power last week, and it just took me way behind on a lot of my work. So even though I love YouTube and I love chatting and chopping it up with you guys, I had a whole lot of work to do. So I just so happened to have a little bit of time today, even though I'm headed like out of state. But let me speak to a couple of you because I missed you guys. So let me speak to you as you come in. You guys seen the topic. We got to get into a few things today. Leela, good to see you. Cupcakes, good to see you. Jeff, good to see you. Annette, Dina, little baby, good to see you guys. I missed you guys. Caramel, Kimmy, Kim, hey, what's up? Andree, what is going on, sis? Now, some of you guys, I do post in the members only and sometimes on the regular wall. So when some events were happening, I was trying to post to let you guys know I knew about it. And some of that is because y'all will email me 50 times. So I was like, let me put this on my wall so you guys know that I do know that I am updated. I was just super, super busy. Sharon, Tasha, good to see you. LaFrance, all you guys, thank you so much, Mr. BM. Tracy, good to see you guys. So you guys saw this topic. And Tracy, you were over there when I was talking. I wish really B was not on vacation because we were over there discussing Belmonte. So for those of you that don't know, Bishop Lamar Whitehead was indicted back in December. The main charge that we saw on there, aside from the issue with the alleged $90,000 with Pauline Anderson, there was also allegations related to a businessman named Brandon Belmonte. If you guys follow Whitehead, he has made it quite clear that he was very upset because of the history of Brandon Belmonte. Now, none of us even argued that fact. Like I said, you could Google him and you can see allegations that have been made against him. There were allegations against his daddy. There were a lot of allegations that were out there. So Whitehead wanted everybody to see that, hey, like I get it. I got a pass, but this dude right here, he a crook. So he was kind of, putting that out there, wanted people to talk about it a little bit more. And about a week ago, there was a interview. Now, back up to those that follow Whitehead, because I think we may have talked about the interview that Whitehead had on a radio station. I also posted that the same morning that video dropped. I don't know if that was live. I don't know what, but it was around July 26th. I want to say, give or take a few days, where that interview dropped related to Brandon Belmonte. He responded to Whitehead, who did an interview on this V105, I believe it was, and he did his rebuttal. So I dropped the link in the membership channel before, and I told some of your favorite bloggers, about it. and everybody wanted me to discuss it. Well, wait a minute. Let me. I don't know. Are you able to come on, Cupcake, for just a couple of seconds? Because me and Cupcake actually talked about that video, and I'm just want to let you know before I even talk. There's the link if you can just come on for a few. Because I want her to tell you what I said about that interview. A lot of people started talking about it. They were asking me if I was going to talk about it. That interview to me, and I don't know how you guys looked at it, it had too many holes like Swiss cheese in it. I just, for me, I just felt like there was a reasoning why he was doing this interview. And so when people ask my opinion, hey girl.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm
So
in the middle of something, but I didn't know if you could hear me.
You said what?
I said I'm in a building, so I didn't know if you could hear me.
Okay. So Cupcake,
Yes, ma'am.
we discussed that interview, right?
We did.
And what did I tell you?
I believe your exact words were Belmonte is next. Um, that is what my memory recalls. And you called it weeks ago. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and you definitely called it out. And you said he was next, and here it is.
I said, mark my words.
Sure did. Mark it.
Belmonte is about to get indicted if he ain't indicted already.
Yeah.
And I got that based off the interview. So I don't know how some of you guys saw. If you guys want to go over the interview, if you don't know what I'm talking about, we could go over that as well. But what really stood out to me, and it's not that I just felt like things were missing. I felt like a lot of the information was missing. This is my opinion, of course. Everybody's innocent until proven guilty. I say that all the time. I felt like there was a lot of stuff that was missing of what he was saying. It was so disconjoined that it didn't make any sense to me. I knew a couple of parts just because I knew some people out of New York, and Dev can tell you that. I was aware, believe it or not, before I even really started covering Belmonte. Dev, if you want to hop on, you can too. We were aware of who Belmonte was. So I know a couple of things that Belmonte said was the truth, not pertaining to Whitehead, but just generally, like he talked about. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. I'm gonna play it for you guys. You can jump off, Cupcakes, if you want to. I just wanted to.
Okay, I'm gonna drop back down because I'm handling something.
Thank you for coming on. I just want to tell y'all. So I didn't want to make it seem like I was just, just saying that because the indictment came down. I literally talked about this before. So let me see. Let me see if I can find this little audio right here before we get into this indictment. Hey, everybody, as you come in, make sure you hit the like button. It's been a minute, so I need you guys to make sure that everyone.
It's easy weekend. Cats can't see me. Welcome back to the Sit Down with your guy, M Easy. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and all that good stuff because we need
Brandon
the algorithm.
Belmonte did.
I want to say about a month or two ago, we interviewed the Bling Bling Bishop, and he had a lot of things to say.
Now, you hear him, he said a month or two ago from the day of this interview that he interviewed the Bling Bling Bishop. So that means that around the time this drop is probably around the time, because we was trying to figure out, is this a pre-recorded interview? That would deduce, we can infer that this was not an old interview. This was reasonably recent. I think that's fair to assess, saying a month or two ago was when they interviewed Whitehead. Let me get back to it.
A person named Brandon Belmonte. And today, I'm giving Brandon his turn to say his piece. Brandon, say hello to the people. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. Absolutely. Now, where do you want to start?
I mean, there's a lot of things I could start with, but I just want to, basically touch on some items that Bishop Lamar brought to your show a month ago.
Go ahead.
That were, false. I was introduced to Bishop Lamar by a gentleman. I used to own the largest luxury car rental business in New York. It was called VIP Cars. We had about 108 cars. We did a lot of music videos.
And for you guys that don't know, that have not read the indictment, which we'll go over, this luxury car business is the crux of this indictment. Let's go on.
A lot of luxury high-end car rental, Rolls Royce, Lamborghinis, etc., etc. Had a body shop in the Bronx that I bought about 2 years ago for like $500,000. A gentleman walks in one day, a broker in New York City who was a big broker in the car rental business, walks in and says, this guy wants to rent out his car. I'll never forget, Bishop walks in with this big, huge chain that either cost less than a Hershey bar or more than, a Rolls Royce.
Okay, what did that have to do with the cost of tea in China? That was the first thing that I'm like, what? Who cares about his chain and how much it costs? That was the first thing that was just like, come on, Belmonte, come on.
One or the other, right? And I basically shoved him off and said, I'm not interested. It was a huge cross. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. About 6 months goes by, I get a phone call from this young woman. She says, my car got into an accident. Can you fix my car? I said, yeah, I'm not really at the body shop that often, but I'll come. I come to the body shop, meet her. She identifies herself as Bishop Lamar Whitehead's sister-in-law. Her name was Ashley, very beautiful, pretty girl, cool girl. She says, can you give me a car to use for a couple weeks while you fix my car? I said, yeah, sure. She had a Maserati truck. We fixed it. I gave her a brand new BMW X6M to drive around for a couple weeks. She drives the car and don't hear anything. Bishop calls me one day. Thanks for fixing my sister-in-law's car. I said, hey, cool. Nice to meet you. Pleasure. He got my number from his sister-in-law. Well, 3 or 4 months goes by. I get a FaceTime back to back. I pick up. I'm like, hey, what's up? He goes, hey, Brandon, it's Bishop. My wife's car got hit, G-Wagon. I said, okay. I said, I'm not really at the body shop. I'm in real estate. I said, I'm not really in the body shop that often. He goes, well, can you fix her car? I said, yeah, that's fine. At this time, I shut down the rental business. I'm not renting cars. I don't have any cars anymore. I have my personal Lamborghini Urus and a Aventador SVJ. I don't have any cars to give anyone for free. He brings his wife's car to the shop, comes to the shop. He goes, my wife needs a car to drive. I said, okay, we'll cover her rental. The car, the G-Wagon, was like $25K to fix. So I go and I rent his wife a Cadillac Escalade from Blue Street Exotics in Long Island. I paid $13,000 to rent the car. Now you're a businessman. Everybody's a businessman. Now I'm into it. I have 12 grand left to play with, right? By the time I buy parts for the car, I do everything. There's no money left at all. He starts at the end of the job. I got to get mine.
You see that? What Andrew said. If y'all just pay attention to what he was saying, I know a lot of people just don't like Whitehead, but I don't have a feeling one way or another. You know what I'm saying? That's why I kept saying it's not personal for me. I'm reporting what's out there. That's what I'm doing. So if you pay attention to what he said, like what Andrew said, some of the stuff was discombobulated. It wasn't make sense. So now you're saying I gotta get mine. He's saying I gotta get mine. Let me keep playing.
I gotta get mine. Starts coming every day to the shop, every day. Every other word out of his mouth is Eric Adams this, Eric Adams that, Eric Adams this, Eric Adams that, Eric Adams this. I said, listen, I'm building a building in the Bronx right now. I said, I don't have anything to do with Eric Adams. I don't know any Eric Adams. I don't want nothing to do with Eric Adams. I got to get mine. I said, bro.
Why would you say that? I'm building a building in the Bronx right now. I don't know Eric Adams. I don't care about Eric Adams. I don't want to know Eric Adams. Why would that even be said? Like, why would you say that? How does that fit in this conversation? Let's go on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What does he mean by I got to get mine?
There is no extra money in this job at all. He goes, I don't give a fuck. He goes, I'm from the streets. He goes, and don't get this, misconstrued of the way I dress and who I am. I'm from the streets.
So we all know what you're missing, Belmonte, is that there had to be an insurance policy somewhere. That never came up in this interview. Nothing about an insurance policy, about how much it, because you all know at times there are people out here that will say, okay, we'll say that the job is 50,000, and if it's anything left over, you'll get it. So you haven't mentioned an insurance claim like not now one time through this whole interview. You're saying I took out 13,000 myself. I only had 12 to play with. Well, where did this 25,000 even come from? You skipping that part, but let's go ahead. And then Eric Adams. Okay, let's go ahead.
I gotta get mine. I said, bro, I paid $13,000 for a fucking. So sorry for.
No, you can go. Go.
Okay, I paid $13,000 for a fucking rental for your car. There's no money left in this deal whatsoever. So you want me to lose money to fix your wife's car? How the fuck does that make any sense? He goes, bro, I don't give a fuck what you got to do. He starts sending me Zelle requests. Starts telling me his brother's gonna pick it up. Don't get misconstrued who I really am. People don't fuck with me in the streets. I can roll around with all this jewelry on. You know, I'm not really, don't play me because I'm a bishop. At this time, I'm living in an $8 million house in Weehawken, New Jersey, overlooking the whole city, have the whole setup, everything. Starts, I need my fucking.
So what do you live in Jersey, making $8 million, having an $8 million home, got to do with anything, but you sitting up here on somebody about the chain they have that could be worth as much as a Rolls Royce or as much as a cardboard box or whatever he tried to say. It's overlooking. I got the setup and everything. What does that have to do with this story, Belmonte? That's all.
$5,000. You fucking faggot. I have recordings, everything. Starts calling me all sorts of crazy names. I'm like, bro, listen. I said, at the time, I sold the body shop out to two guys because I don't have time to go there every day. The two guys, I go, give him his $5,000. Let's move on with this situation. We're not giving him his $5,000. I go, well, I'm not giving him $5,000 out of my own pocket. I'm not losing money to fix some guy's car that no body shop in the world, I don't care what you have, will give you a $13,000 rental for a month. That's how much they.
So at what point do they just total out cars? Because that just seemed like a lot of money for some repairs, $25,000. When do they total out your car and say there's nothing we can do about your car, and they just give you a check for the whole car?
Pardon me for the Escalade, a month. Long story short, he starts making threats. I'm going to send somebody to come pick up my fucking money. I'm going to show up at your house. I'm going to pull up on you. Starts talking like a street guy. I go, bro, I'm not a street guy. I said, just because, I hung out with street guys in the car rental business, I'm not a street guy. All of a sudden, he starts, I'm going to pull up at your house tonight. You're a fucking faggot. Starts calling me all sorts of names. Every day, starts calling me names. I said, listen, I'm going to pay you. I said, I don't want nothing to do with you. I can't stand you. You're the most annoying person in the world.
So you told Whitehead, I'm going to pay you. I don't want nothing to do with you. I can't stand you. You're the most annoying person in the world. That conversation probably never happened, in my opinion. But let's go ahead.
Anybody who's a real businessman can't come and sit at someone's body shop for 5 or 6 hours. He would come sit at the body shop for 5 or 6 hours straight, sit there on the other side of my desk, and basically tell me about his real estate deal in Connecticut, tell me about this real estate deal, that real estate deal, how he has City Hall in his back pocket, Eric Adams this, Eric Adams that, he has guns in his church, okay? Everything. Wow. So I'm like, I don't know who the fuck this guy thinks he is. So one night, it was a Friday night, it was around Greek Orthodox Easter weekend. My fiance is in Ohio. I'm on the phone with one of my boys who used to work at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, and I'm telling him the story. I go, bro, I said, I think Eric Adams is trying to extort me through this guy. Because he kept saying for me to introduce my best friend as a legit billionaire.
Okay. So you guys tell me in the chat, where does Eric Adams allegedly trying to extort you even fit in here? Where would you get that? Where would you even get that deduction from this conversation that Eric Adams was trying to extort you? Where would that even come from?
State developer. He's a Hasidic Jew. He's a legit billionaire, like legit. Mm-hmm. He kept saying, introduce me to him. I got City Hall in my back pocket. Eric Adams, when he was Borough Hall president, was going to give me a $60 million construction contract. I didn't have a construction business. E will do anything for me. So I call my boy. I go, this guy wants $5,000. And basically, he's going to leave me alone, but he keeps talking about City Hall do things for me with my building. They'll give me benefits, right? I could get you this. I could get you that. It's my time to shine. It's my time to eat. I didn't get to eat because I guess when Eric Adams became Borough Hall president, I'm speaking out of not sure about this, he had just came out of jail and basically he didn't have anything at that time. Now that he had something, whether he did or he didn't, people thought he did because the guy's driving around 2 Rolls Royces, a Lamborghini, et cetera, et cetera. He comes across as a guy who has the wherewithal to be able to do real estate.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes, introduce me to your boy, introduce me to your boy. So I call my boy and I go, this guy wants to borrow. Then he started asking me to borrow $500,000. I said, let me get your Zelle. I said, I'll Zelle you the 5K. I didn't even have Zelle at the time because my bank doesn't have Zelle. I said, let me get your Zelle. I knew that was the quickest, easiest way to get him. I'm going to send you your Zelle.
Why are you asking for this man's Zelle information if you're saying your bank doesn't have Zelle? And I knew this was the quickest and easiest way to get it to you. But how were you going to do it, sir, if you didn't have Zelle?
So that Friday night, I called my boy who used to work at the U.S. Attorney's Office, and I'm like, yo, I think the mayor of New York is trying to extort me through this guy because every day this guy's saying he's going to set up meetings with Eric Adams. He's going to do this with Eric Adams, introduce my boy, who's a legit billionaire, to Eric Adams. We're going to sit down with Eric Adams. Eric Adams has the key to the city. He could get whatever he wants from Eric. Eric's his boy. Eric's his mentor. Eric's something.
What does Eric, how is that extortion, Belmonte? Like, seriously, how in your mind was that extortion? Or was even setting up to be extortion? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Him asking for allegedly $5,000 and then saying, listen, I got the hookup. I got the hookup where I know people in office that are willing to sit down with you and help you with your projects. How does that equate to extortion? That was not clicking for me.
Bishop Whitehead's dad got killed by the NYPD. I'm like, okay, fine. So I call my boy. It's a Friday night. I'm living in my house, right? I call it my boy. I go, what should I do? I said, I really think the mayor's on the take. I said, there's some weird shit going on here. Every word out of this guy's mouth is Eric Adams, Eric Adams, Eric Adams. And he presents himself as a thug and as a legitimate businessman. So my boy goes, dude, you need to call the U.S. Attorney's Office right now. So I said, are you sure? He goes, yeah. So I dial the 212 number to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
So as you see, though, Belmonte did say that it was his boy that worked for the AUSA that told him to contact the FBI. So anything about anybody else allegedly doing it, according to Belmonte's own mouth, it was his boy that told him to contact the AUSA. Let me go ahead.
They put me on the phone with 2 AUSAs, 2 FBI agents, and another guy. I explained to them basically what Bishop Whitehead said to me. They said, that's crazy. It sounds unbelievable that someone would throw around the mayor of New York City's name like that. It's not like he's throwing around his name, your name, her name, not that you guys are nobodies, but, this is the mayor of New York City saying basically he's going to give us a homeless shelter in the Bronx for a building that's not a homeless shelter. That was our discussion, okay? And he spoke so candidly of the mayor that he basically, these are my text messages. This is everything. I speak with him. He called him E. Then he would refer to him as Eric. So I said, the next morning, it was a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. I get a call from a block number. It was the FBI. They said, where do you live? I said, Weehawken, New Jersey. They said, yeah, we're on our way to your house right now. I said, what? I said, you're on your way to my house right now. I said, I just got off the phone with you guys last night at 11 o'clock. He goes, yeah, this is really serious. I'm like, okay. I said, that's fine. Come in my house. They sit in my house for about 2 hours. They asked me to make a recorded call to the bishop. Straight up. They said, if you're not lying, you have to make a recorded call. Show us that you weren't lying. You kept us on the phone last night for an hour and a half telling us this story about how this guy drops the mayor of New York's name every 5 seconds. So,
but how is dropping the mayor's name? And see, this is why I believe, this is my opinion. I believe that Belmonte knew what he was doing by mentioning Eric Adams. And this indictment to me is connected to that. So this is all my opinion, y'all. I want you coming for me. But saying Whitehead probably wouldn't have got no smoke from the FBI or from the AUSA. saying Mayor Adams, who half of the city obviously ain't caring for right now, that's going to get your eyes and your ears perked. So he found a way, from what I'm hearing, this is my interpretation, to weave in Eric Adams in order, because that's a big fish. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to a lot of stuff, when you whistling, singing, snitching, whatever people call it, you want to make sure it's a bigger fish, because the little low fish, they don't really care about that. So to me, it felt like he was really trying to intertwine Adams into this situation. But you guys can let me know what you think in the chat. Let me keep playing.
Before this, he asked me to borrow $500,000 for his project in Connecticut. He said he needed $500,000 to finish his project in Connecticut, and I had sent my father, who died in September of 2022.
Condolences.
Thank you. This is around June 2022. I sent my father, my father's a big construction guy in Connecticut, to check out his property in Connecticut to try and help him when we were on good terms. That's when I did it, right? Now, we weren't on good terms, and I didn't give him his $5,000 yet. You know, every other word out of his mouth is, I need my fucking money. I got to get mines, blah, blah, blah. So the FBI comes to my house. I do a recorded call. The recorded call goes like this. He's in his fucking closet. That's huge. Like, the guy's got a closet like a celebrity you see on, you know, MTV Cribs, right? And I have a big ass house, but I don't have any clothes, right? So this guy's living like, you know, large. And he's in there folding like Fendi and Gucci and all these fucking brands that, you know, I've never had before in my life. And he goes,
how you live in an $8 million house, but you can't afford Fendi and Gucci? I don't live in an $8 million house, but I can afford Fendi and Gucci. Like, some of this stuff was like, why are you inserting this type of information in this interview?
Yeah, me and you will sit down with Eric. Just get me my $5,000. Everything's going to go, you know, as planned. And we're going to make money together. We're going to make millions together. So that call was recorded. I did it in my Lamborghini Urus in front of my house with the FBI agent, literally sitting in the...
We don't care about your Lamborghini. So you did it in your Lamborghini Urus. What was that information for?
Backseat of my car. It like hunkered down, right? So then he goes, I still want my $5,000. I need my fucking $5,000. Starts flipping out on me, like fucking calling me crazy names. So the FBI gave me $5,000 to give to him.
Wow.
He says to me, listen, we're going to make millions together. We're going to run City Hall. I got connections. We did about 3 or 4 other recorded phone.
And this is why this makes sense, as far as, if you guys have followed me, you know that I have followed all the motions that have been filed in the criminal case. Aside from Whitehead trying to get through everybody's head about how Belmonte is and the alleged dirt he's done and all the people that allegedly have issues with him, he was saying that he was basically an informant. And so there were some motions that were filed where it was arguments over whether he was an informant, not informant, working for the government, wasn't working for the government. So he's basically giving us more information than what we knew, that allegedly he was in the back, the FBI was in the back seat. I mean, he's giving way more information than what we ever knew out those motions, according to him. I don't know how true it is, but according to him.
Calls back and forth where he would say, Eric Adams is my right-hand man. Eric Adams was at the Met Gala. He called Eric Adams right in front of me. Eric Adams did not pick up the call in any of the conversations ever, but his assistant did, and Bishop was trying to get a meeting with Eric Adams to sit down with us to do a business deal together. The FBI had me give him the $5,000, and in his interview with you, he says I set him up, and that basically they're not using me as a witness in the case, and that I lied about all this stuff. Everything is on record.
No, he said, he did say you set him up, and you just said that you helped set him up. That's kind of what you just said. But I don't think Whitehead said that's why they're not using him for that purpose. I think what he's saying is for impeachment purposes, which is essentially when you have a past, like you're indicted, been indicted, you have charges, you're a convicted felon, or you have all these people, your credibility is at stake. If he takes the stand, there can be a cross-examination on all the allegations that were against you, or well, not really the allegations against you, the ones that perhaps any past charges that he had. So that's why we saw some of the motions were asking about his juvenile record. They were asking about all of this stuff. So if he testifies and he has any past criminal where he was actually convicted, that can be used against him as it pertains to his credibility, especially if it pertains to theft, dishonesty, or anything of that nature, if that makes sense. So Belmonte's making this thing, well, we have recording, so it's no need to use me. Well, if you take the stand, then you open up the door for cross-examination for impeachment. That is true.
Recordings. I didn't lie about anything. Everything from A to Z is on recordings that the FBI had me record all our conversations with him, in which he goes into detail over and over again of, you need to give me my fucking money, you need to give me $500,000, you need to do this, you need to do that, or basically, I'm going to get your project shut down, I'm going to make your life miserable, I'm not really who you think I am, don't let the bishops close, basically deceit who I really am, because I'm really a thug deep down inside. He would basically throw out a couple times. He said he was, involved with the Crips. He said, even though I know when Casanova got arrested in 2020, I paid for his lawyer the day he got arrested.
Now I'm going to say, and if Dev is in the chat, I have some information as it pertains to that. So I know from what, I can't say I know. I'm just saying, I will say that before all this happened, I received information that allegedly Belmonte had paid for Casanova's lawyer and of who the lawyer was. And it's just a whole different situation of how I knew who Belmonte was and all that, with somebody contacting me about some situations that had to do with Belmonte. But Dev told me, child, when he heard certain names, he was like, I'm from New Jersey, New York area. You're not. You stay yourself over there, Pam, in Detroit, and you let them lawyers over there handle that. So I ended up not being involved. But I did hear about this as it pertains to Belmonte, that he did allegedly pay for this lawyer. I heard it was actually a little bit more, but he said it was $75,000. So we just go with that. I don't know what this got to do with this conversation, or this interview, or what this has to do with Whitehead. I really don't know. Maybe he's trying to give himself credibility that he cool with the folks. I don't know.
Arrested James Kasuris. I paid $75,000 for Casanova's lawyer the day he got arrested, and the FBI came to my house when Casanova was a fugitive from justice. He called, and he basically told me, he said,
why did they come to, let me be quiet, let me go ahead.
I don't care who you fuck with. And I said, bro, Cass and I were cool. I'm not I'm not a street guy, but I'm not I'm a cool dude. Like, people like me.
You said a Christian. I'm not.
In the streets, I did a lot for a lot of people. The day that Cass got arrested, literally he called me that day. He said, I need a lawyer. I got him a lawyer, and I wired $75K to James Kasuris that day.
What? Are you letting us know you wired this man $75,000 for Casanova's lawyer, though? Why, Belmonte? What does this have to do with anything? And didn't you tell your lawyer, tell the federal government, according to one of the documents we had, that you wasn't going to talk anymore past that New Yorker? That's what you said in a document. But go ahead.
That Casanova got arrested. So then he starts with the whole $500,000. I need $500,000. I need $500,000. So I never gave him the $500,000. We basically strung him along that I was going to give him the $500,000. And he would say, once you give me the $500,000, I'm going to make the introduction to Eric Adams. So basically it was, I want you to fix my wife's car for free, right? I want you to lose $5,000 on fixing my wife's car. Then I want you to give me $500,000 that you're going to lend me against my property in Connecticut, which is property in Connecticut. My friend actually did the mortgage. I don't know what you guys know about mortgages, but if he took the $500,000, he would have been default, because you can't have a second position loan on the property. So first position is my friend, second position would have been me. And basically he was just trying to defraud me to give him $500,000 when he hadn't made a payment on the building in 3 or 4 months. So his whole thing was, I'm the, thug bishop is what I would call him deep down inside.
Could somebody look for me and see when Whitehead did his interview with this V105.9 for me? It might still be on his Instagram. I'm sure you could probably Google it or look it up on YouTube. If somebody could just give me the date, that'd be great.
He's not a good person. He comes across as a good guy. He tries to get on your good side. My father was dying at the time, and basically he just wanted everything he could get from me. And once he knows he's not going to get anything, you're a piece of shit. You're a scumbag. You're a lowlife. You're trash. You're everything. So he says, "Oh, I set him up on your radio show." He goes, "Oh, he set me up." I didn't set him up. He set himself up.
I mean, it was kind of a setup, though. You had a phone call, FBI, kind of felt set up. Granted, he deserved it. I'm not going to say he didn't deserve it, but it kind of was a little setup. But I agree. He did deserve what he got because, I mean, listen, if he was trying to defraud you out of money, right is right, wrong is wrong. So how did it end without him going to jail?
What do you mean?
Because if the FBI is involved,
he did get arrested.
Oh, he did.
He got arrested right before Christmas for extortion, which was the $5,000.
Ah, man, but you guys get the hint on what his stuff was about. It's only about 5 minutes left. I guess I'll finish it. I was gonna cut this off right here, but I'll do the last little 5 minutes.
For the car, and then the potential simultaneous fraud of the loan of $500,000.
Yes.
Using Eric Adams as my go-to, because he basically was offering us city benefits on behalf of Eric Adams without Eric Adams' knowledge of him doing this.
But here's the next thing.
Yeah.
Eric Adams has to get on some kind of public forum and denounce his relationship with this man.
He hasn't.
And that's a problem.
It is a problem. No one understands why. And I did an interview from the New Yorker magazine back in December when he got arrested. I did an interview with the New Yorker magazine, and I sat down with them, and they said, "Why do you think Eric Adams hasn't?" I think they're friends. I think they were friends at one point, but I don't think Eric Adams is a bad person. I don't think Eric Adams was ever in on any of this. I think the bishop tried to
Wait. So now you say, I don't think Eric Adams is a bad person. I don't think he was in on any of this, but this is how you got the FBI to even give you the light of day, come to your house by alleging that Eric Adams was trying to extort you. Now, in the same breath, in the same 20-minute interview, you're saying, I think he's not a bad person.
Relationship with Eric Adams to basically try and defraud me and look at me as an easy target in this situation when I wasn't an easy target. And he actually asked people, does Brandon know people in law enforcement before he met me? Then he goes on your show and says that I put bugs inside cars. I had rappers arrested. I had this arrested. When all I did ever in my life, when I had you could ask anybody, people had my Rolls Royce Cullinan shot up in the Bronx. I fixed it myself, never had them pay for it. When Cass got arrested, paid for his lawyer. So many kids, we had 108 total cars. So many kids would come to us all the time, say, "Oh, I just got arrested for credit card theft. Can you help me get a lawyer? Can you help me get this? Can you help me? Can you do this? Can you do that for me?"
So he's saying he's a good guy and he doesn't like the way he's being portrayed because he helped pay for lawyers and he helps the little kids in the neighborhood. And he does this and he does that and he does that and he does this.
And we would help everybody. We're not out here to hurt anybody, but at the same time, we're not out here to be taken advantage of by anyone. And he says, oh, the FBI wasn't onto him. But then right after he gets arrested for my case, right, he gets arrested for buying his house with fake bank statements. And then recently, and I don't follow him, he said that I was on your show. He said that I was watching him before. I didn't even know who the hell he was, nor do I really care who he is. Yeah, I don't even go to church. I went to a Catholic school, but I don't even pray to God. So I would never pray to him.
Oh, Belmonte, you would be so fun to cross-examine on the stand. You really would be. I see why they were fighting to get you on the stand. How are you gonna say, I don't even go to he went, I didn't even know who he was, and I don't care to know who he is. Well, you know him now. So what was your point even saying I don't even care to know who he is? You know exactly who he is because he was sitting in your shop, according to you, for 5 to 6 hours. How do you not get to know somebody and you spending that much time every day? Or that they were around praying for your dad or whatever else that you guys are saying happened. I just can't with this cat.
first of all. And anybody who's driving a nicer car than I'm driving and, leaves your house and can sit there for 6 hours and you leave your house at 11 a.m. in the morning is obviously up to some sort of no good. And had I lent him the money, he's lost the building in Connecticut, or he's in the process of losing the building in Connecticut. It was just signed over to a receiver. He sued me for $200 million. I've never been actually served with the lawsuit, but his lawyer, Brian Ponder, and I'm sure I'll get sued again right after this interview. I'm 100% sure. His lawyer basically just puts it on the internet that he's suing me for $200 million, and I don't get served, but it just is this media frenzy. That's what he does this for. It's all just a big joke. Right. So when I saw your interview, people were reaching out to me and they're like, bro, you need to go on there. You need to clear the air of what exactly happened, because what he did was not kosher. It wasn't cool. It wasn't right. And you want to pretend you're someone of God. You need to really be someone of God, not be, either you're a mobster or you're, a church guy. You can't be both.
Right.
And he wanted to be both.
He must not have read the Bible, because there was a lot of gangsters in the Bible. But go ahead.
And that's a major issue in this whole thing. And there's more things probably coming towards him, because he's done a lot of people dirty like this. Then he wants to come on here and throw shade on me. I would sit down with him across right here and have a debate with him, because he can't say that I ever set him up. I did this, I did that. He did everything himself, because he was the one who was saying, give me this and I'm going to get this from City Hall, when there really was nothing to give me from City Hall.
Gotcha.
And it's not right.
Well, Brandon, thank you for coming. Appreciate you.
All right. Wait.
On your side of the story, and I think, like they always say, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, my side, and the truth. And I think somewhere in the middle, we found the truth. Bishop Lamar, you ain't right, fam. You ain't right. You ain't right. You ain't right. But
So my point was, when I heard this, I just was like, I think my opinion of it, and it may be the legal in me as well, was just like, Belmonte, come on. This definitely didn't help your situation. I talked to a couple of people, like I said, really big cupcakes offline, where I was like, girl, he on his way to an indictment. Now, I was looking at the dates because I wanted to see if it was any time close to when he learned that perhaps he was going to be, because they usually will call you and give you the heads up on when you can turn yourself in, or he has a lawyer. We know that from the pleadings that he has a lawyer, because AUSA has been in contact with his lawyer. So I was wondering if this was occurred when he already was made aware that he would be indicted. But it looks like if this interviewer is saying that this is a month or two later, and you guys are telling me it was like March 21st when Whitehead did his interview, then perhaps this was done in April or May. It was pre-recorded and they just decided to drop it. So maybe there is absolutely no, connection to that. But I wanted to show you guys, this is why I'm saying that, to me, it really was about Eric Adams, why they even gave this dude probably the time of day. And I had this, I think maybe, I'm not sure if I posted it in the membership, or maybe I just told somebody about it. But it wasn't too long ago. What's the date on this? July 7th of 2023. There were 6 charged in an alleged straw donor scheme to help get Eric Adams elected New York City mayor. This, to me, let me know that he was just on the radar. He was just on the radar. So 6 people were charged Friday in an alleged scheme to divert tens of thousands of dollars in public money to New York City Mayor Eric Adams' campaign months before his election. The indictment announced by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg does not implicate Adams or other current city employees in the unpended plot, whether it disguises a straw donor conspiracy orchestrated by people with business before the city who hope to maximize their donation in exchange for political favors. Among the defendants are former NYPD commander who has known the mayor for decades and the owners of a construction safety business that's currently working on a trash depot in Staten Island. We allege a deliberate scheme to game system in a blatant attempt to gain power, Bragg said in a statement. The New York City Campaign Finance Board program is meant to support our democracy, amplify the voices of New York City voters. When the integrity of the program is corrupted, all New Yorkers suffer. So I was just honestly paying attention to, hey, Rhodey, thank you so much for becoming a member. So Turn your camera off, Dev. All right. Did you have something nice to say?
Something nice. Well, let me say this. Number one, it's always more that Pam knows than what she displays. Um, a lot of stuff she gets way ahead of time because of networking and connections. People reach out to her, email, DMs, all of that. So a lot of this stuff, uh, by the time it hit the news, quote unquote, she had already known about it. And she was right. You know, she came to me, she talked to me because she had an opportunity to be more involved in this. And because I'm from the tri-state area, and I had known of, you know, Casanova and a lot of stuff, whatever it gets be, I was like, listen, and I don't often say this, and me and her joke about it, but all money ain't good money.
And
So I
wasn't
was
it
like,
some good money? Wasn't they
listen,
offering your wife some
all,
good
all, all I'm saying is initially up front, she would have gotten six figures. And that was just up front for her to get on the case to be legal count. And I was like, no. And it sounds crazy, but you know, because who can say, oh, we're so good where we can turn down six figures? It wasn't that. It was the affiliation and association of everything on the back end that I didn't want her involved in. Because she get involved and you deal with people at higher levels of stuff or whatever, then, you know, it's not just about what's in the courthouse. She can handle that. It's everything outside of the courthouse. All right. So it was like, you know what? Before I
I lost you. Well, what he was just gonna say, and it ain't had nothing to do with Whitehead at all, but this was a
go,
situation where
you know,
Belmonte's name came up. So I
these
was able
person.
to you went out for a minute, so we didn't hear if you was talking the last 2 seconds. I just started
Oh,
talking.
uh, my thing was I was saying a lot of people that's involved with, you know, a lot of these persons and stuff like that or whatever. Um, it's really not worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's really not worth it. You know, sometimes, you know, you got to let the gutter handle the gutter. But you know, all the intellects and stuff like that. Again, I just wanted to reiterate, you know, your social media lawyer would have been way more involved, you know, if I had supported that notion. But it wasn't worth it. You know what I'm saying? When you already see up front that people can put you in a position where you have to come out of character just to deal with them or whatever. Nah,
All right. I hear
nah.
your background. I'm about to drop you off.
All right,
Okay. Thank you for coming up.
all right.
So no, and it ain't had nothing to do with Whitehead. So I want to be very, very clear. It was something totally different that had something to do with Belmonte, like I said. And I came and I told him that I was like, "You sure? You sure?" So for him to say, like, I am some, what, I don't know what he called me, whatever lawyer. I got people from your state calling me to get in. But nevertheless, I digress. Let's get to this indictment. And well, you know what though? Dev hasn't, this was the first case he's ever said that. And one of the things too is, what I can say is, when I did criminal defense, I had to take cases knowing my kids went to school. So I was very good at it. And that's not just two. I just really have this level where I believe in grace and mercy. So I'm gonna find something. If it's under a rock, I'm gonna find it. I have even crafted some great deals around, great deals that no other attorney probably has ever crafted. And my husband could tell you that too. But when I remember doing a unaliving case, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, and I always say all my clients was innocent. But the families that are grieving, they just look at you like you're defending someone who has done this to my family. When I took on this case, I had the depths walking me to my car. That's how I couldn't get on elevators with family members, because they would be like, "Oh, you walking in here with your Gucci bag and you're so and so. You do anything for money. You represent this scumbag for money." Like, people just, and that was that was like one of my first bigger cases. And so I learned from that, where it was like I have to sit down and say, I may be on the news. I have a son in high school. Will that affect my son? Will that affect my family? Would they be trying to come over here and try to, whatever with me, or meet me at the courthouse? You get what I'm saying? So you do have to take that into consideration. So when it was a case of that magnitude, the way it was presented to me, and when the information was given to me, and when they wanted me to talk to these people, it didn't even get to the point of really talking. When it came to me and their spokesperson came to me asking me about being involved in a situation, and I went to Dev and he was like, oh, hell no. And that was the end of the conversation. I was like, my husband said I can't do it. I'm sorry. Child, I was sitting up there picking out what I wanted to buy next. Okay. I was like, shoot, I was going to dust my defense stuff off. I was like, shh, how much you say? So, oh, I miss you too, Jace. Thank you. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted you guys to see that July 7th, there were people charged around Adams. So when he started saying Adams and he said, I think the mayor's trying to extort me, I didn't see where Eric Adams, and you guys can help me if there's the link is down there. If anybody wants to tell me where they saw in that interview that he tried to extort him, then I'll be happy to entertain it. I didn't see that. And so the interview just didn't click for me. I didn't understand the purpose of it. And so that's why when everybody else was kind of talking about it, I didn't. I honestly told Cupcake, I said, he about to get indicted and I will go over his indictment. I said that. That was 2 weeks ago. I have it in the text. So now we're here and I'm about to go over his indictment right now, since we've been on for dang near an hour. Okay, so Belmonte was indicted. And it was sealed at first. Typically it'll remain sealed. So it was sealed. And then it was just unsealed yesterday. So the defendants and relevant entities. So it has Brandon US v. Brandon Belmonte. Ally 52nd Street LLC was a New York limited liability company located in New York, New York. Soho 36 Inc. was a New York corporation located in New York, New York. VIP Cars, remember he mentioned that in the interview, was the New York corporation located in Astoria, New York, and Bronx, New York. The defendant, Brandon Belmonte, owned and operated VIP, a luxury vehicle rental business. Belmonte operated VIP in part through Allied 52 and Soho 36 corporate entities that he controlled. A number of Belmonte's associates, including straw buyer A and straw buyer B, individuals whose identities are known to the grand jury, obtained financing to purchase or lease vehicles that then were made available to rent through VIP. Straw buyer B also was an employee of VIP. Insurance company A and insurance company B entities, the identities of which are known to the grand jury, were businesses that provided insurance coverage for these vehicles. Yeah, I get that so far. So let's get to the fraudulent. These are all allegations. He is innocent until proven guilty. The fraudulent scheme, the vehicle financing scheme. In or about between January 2019 and April 2021, the defendant, Brandon Belmonte, together with others, acquired luxury vehicles for VIP's rental fleet, primarily by purchasing and leasing such luxury vehicles in the names of other individuals, including the straw buyers. During this time period, Belmonte and the straw buyers, together with others, obtained financing to purchase or lease luxury vehicles for VIP's fleet from certain financial institutions. Collectively, the financial institutions, entities, the identities of which are known to the grand jury, and financial lending companies, collectively the lenders. Entities, the identities of which are known to the grand jury pursuant to financing agreements. In these financing agreements, Belmonte and the straw buyers, together with others, falsely represented to the financial institutions and the lenders that the purchased vehicles would not be used as rental vehicles. So you know how when you get a house and they ask you, like, are they going to be for rental property or your actual homestead? Apparently, this is the same thing that they do for cars. As part of this scheme, Belmonte and the straw buyers, together with others, knowingly and intentionally submitted false information and fraudulent records to the financial institution and the lenders concerning the straw buyers' income and financial ability to repay the loans, including false earning statements and false bank state records. Now, Belmonte, didn't you just do a whole interview and talk about him being arrested for alleged false bank statements? And then now you're being accused of the same thing. This is why when they say you had a right to remain silent, you should really just exercise that right. For example, in or around December 2019, Belmonte, together with others, submitted financing paperwork to one of the lenders in connection with the purchase of a luxury vehicle in the name of straw buyer A. This paperwork falsely claimed that straw buyer A earned approximately $100K annually in addition to his actual salary, and also misrepresented that straw buyer A was the organizer of Allied 52. And concealing the true intended owner of the vehicles and the true intended use of the vehicles, as well as misrepresenting the straw buyer's financial circumstances and submitting fraudulent documentation in support thereof, Belmonte and the straw buyers sought to ensure that the financial institutions and the lenders agreed to provide the requested financing because Belmonte and the straw buyers believed that the financial institution and the lenders would not finance the sale or lease of the luxury vehicles if they knew the true intended purpose for the vehicles or the true financial status of the straw buyers. As a result of this fraudulent scheme and reliance on the material misrepresentation, made by Belmonte and the straw buyers, the financial institutions and lenders provided financing to Belmonte and the straw buyers for the purchase of the vehicles. Then we have the insurance fraud scheme is the next portion. Hey. He said Belmonte had to get the feds involved because the bishop was being loud and he was blowing up his spot. You said you can't make this stuff up, honey. I can't say I'm shocked. In or about April 2020 and December 2021, the defendant, Brandon Belmonte, together with others, also made material misrepresentations to insurance companies, collectively the insurance companies, including Insurance Company A and Insurance Company B, entities, the identities of which are known to the grand jury, which provided insurance coverage for the luxury vehicles in VIP's fleet. Specifically, Belmonte, together with others, obtained insurance policies on the vehicle in VIP's fleet that expressly prohibited the insured vehicles from being used as rental vehicles. My. You know, insurance policies too, for those of you, and I don't know if it's just Michigan, but I want you guys to be aware. Those of you that do like Lyft with your vehicles or you do Uber, make sure your insurance companies know, because most of them have those in your car insurance, and that is considered misrepresentation if you use it for like a transport, just in case you guys don't know. That's my free tip for the day. In order to obtain and maintain insurance coverage on these vehicles, Belmonte, together with others, falsely represented to the insurance companies that these vehicles were not used as rental vehicles and also provided other materially false information to the insurance company. For example, in or about between April 2020 and May 2020, Belmonte, together with others, submitted insurance claims to Insurance Company A for 3 separate accidents involving vehicles and VIP's fleet for which the insurance policies were held in the name of Allied 52 and listed straw buyer B as the payee. A representative of Insurance Company A had previously contacted straw buyer B, who advised Insurance Company A to speak with Belmonte about the claim. On or about April 6, 2020, during a telephone call with the representative of Insurance Company A, Belmonte, among other things, falsely claimed to be Belmonte's father, that Allied 52 was a construction company, and that the vehicle involved in the accident were used by employees of Allied 52. These misrepresentations conceal Belmonte's and VIP's connection to the involved vehicles and the true use of the vehicles, namely that the vehicles were part of VIP's rental fleet and not used by employees of a construction company. And what's interesting about that too, Mr. Belmonte, is that that probably was recorded. When you talk to those insurance agents, that call was probably recorded. That's why I'm saying, like, just can't be in glass houses throwing stones. On another occasion, in or about August 2021, Belmonte submitted an insurance claim of insurance company B, claiming that a vehicle leased in his name had been hit by another vehicle in the parking lot of a store. Following that claim, Belmonte spoke to representatives of insurance company B, including on or about August 17th and 18th, 2021, during which conversation Belmonte, among other things, falsely represented that VIP was not his business, that he was not involved in the vehicle rental business, that he worked for the United States Department of Homeland Security. What? And that he had reported the accident to the store. Let me read that again. Following the claim, Belmonte spoke to representatives of insurance company B, including on or about August 17th and 18th, 2021, during which conversation Belmonte, among other things, falsely represented that VIP was not his business, that he was not involved in the vehicle rental business. Well, you kind of said that in the interview that you just shut that down. That he worked for the United States Department of Homeland Security, and that he had reported the accident to the store. Each of these misrepresentations concealed the true nature of the incident underlying the insurance claim in an effort to ensure that insurance company B would pay for the repairs to the vehicle. Count 1, conspiracy to commit bank fraud and wire fraud. In or about between January 2019 and April 2021, both dates being approximate and inclusive within the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendant, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally conspire to execute a scheme and artifice to defraud one or more of the financial institutions, the deposits of which were insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, and to obtain monies, funds, credits, assets, and other property owned by and under the custody and control of the financial institutions by means of one or more materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises contrary to Title 18 United States Code 1344, and devised a scheme and artifice to defraud one or more of the financial institutions and the lenders, and to obtain money and property from the financial institutions and lenders by means of one or more materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises, and for the purpose of executing such scheme and artifice, transmit and cause to be transmitted by means of wire communication and interstate commerce, one of more writing, signs, signals, pictures, and sounds contrary to Title 18. Count 2, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, insurance fraud scheme. The allegations contained in paragraph 1 through 17 are realleged, blah, blah. In or about in between April 2020 and December 2021, both dates being approximate and inclusive within the Eastern District of New York and elsewhere, the defendant, Brandon Belmonte, together with others, did knowingly and intentionally conspire to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud one or more of the insurance companies and to obtain money and property from the insurance companies by means of one or more materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises, and for the purposes of executing such scheme or artifice, transmit and cause to be transmitted by means of wire communication and interstate commerce. Then they give the notice for forfeiture. And I think that would be it. And that is the indictment. Let me look to see what you guys are over here talking about. What do you guys think about this? I know Whitehead is having let me go look on his page. I know he having a whole entire field day. Let me see. Oh, child, yep. He done posted. He got set up. I told the world I was set up by a con man. More victims will come out this week. That's what he said. Oh, he has a press release from Leaders of Tomorrow. I'm going to read to you guys. This is his press release. All right, Bishop Lamar Miller Whitehead, pastor leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries, am addressing the indictment of Brandon Belmonte. Brandon Belmonte was arraigned today, August 4, 2023, by federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York for bank and wire fraud and conspiracy. Oh, sorry, I got to turn this music on. August 4 by federal prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York for bank and wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. This indictment vindicates me. This shows that Brandon Belmonte, who prosecutors have referred to as a quote businessman, is actually a con man. He has defrauded numerous people, taking money from them, allegedly millions of dollars, and he has set me up. I have been contacted by some of the victims, and I believe that many more of his frauds will come to light. I have said from the beginning that I'm an innocent man, and this indictment shows it. The case I was indicted for was started by Brandon Belmonte, who went to the FBI and created a false narrative to implicate me in a bribery scheme to set up myself and the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, to get himself out of trouble for all the crimes he has committed, crimes he has now been indicted for. I hope Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, takes another look at my case and dismisses all charges. God protects all of his people, and God has now exposed that the businessman is really a con man. As Psalms 105:15 says, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. Thank you for your prayers, Chief Apostle Bishop Lamar Miller Whitehead. That's what he said. I don't know. The indictment against Bling is more than Belmonte, so he needs to see. When I posted about this interview, I was very, like, again, it was in my members, I think, where I gave a few comments. And I think the consensus among the members that really comment and stuff was, Belmonte, what are you talking about? Like, you be quiet. This did not help your situation. And now we see that it did not. I don't think anybody really questioned whether Belmonte actually had perhaps done things to other people. It just wasn't relevant. What's relevant is what has to do with you, allegedly. So that's why it was the focus. It wasn't about, so just because we proved that he did all this stuff with VIP stuff, it was nothing in that indictment that says whatever's being said about you absolves you as well. You get what I'm saying, if that makes sense. So I don't think anybody really questioned, because I saw some of his paperwork as well. I don't think anybody really questioned that. It just was, what they got to do with you. That's usually like what the question is. Like, what does that really have to do with you? But Belmonte, it's some holes in this story, and I think your interview is going to come back to bite you. I really do. Any decent defense attorney is going to be able to use this against you. I will call you as a witness. Well, he'll probably plead the fifth because now he indicted. So he probably won't even testify. Because at first I was like, why indict him now? But yes. This indictment is about insurance and wire fraud with the luxury business that he basically acknowledged that he owned on the interview. You're not, but then allegedly, if you talk to insurance company, they tell you this call may be recorded for training purposes. So they probably have it recorded where you were allegedly saying whatever they're saying in this indictment that you said to a representative. I don't own VIP or whatever else you were saying. You said this in the interview that you owned a luxury rental car company place. You said that. But thank you. That's all I was saying. Now, some people, I know they was just happy to hear the negative stuff they wanted to hear. But listen, Ronald said, even if Belmonte was lying, what about Miss Pauline? When it comes to Miss Pauline, he has filed a lawsuit. From my understanding, I have not looked at it because I said I'm not going to keep reopening all these new lawsuits. Well, but he does have a lawsuit of which he alleges that it was Pauline's son, maybe that was the one that took the money. So he has his defenses as it pertains to Miss Pauline. Again, he's innocent until proven guilty. He has not been, just like Belmonte is, he has not actually been, it has not been concluded civilly or otherwise that this occurred. So that's his argument for that. I guess we'll see how it plays out in February. So. Kay said all this shows is why he was enamored with Belmonte. Let me see some of your comments. So, I mean, we don't know. What we're going to learn is if we choose to follow this case, there will be motions that's filed. There'll probably be motions to suppress that's filed, similar to like Whitehead. And in those motions, they will probably, and the responses, they will probably give us more information. So. You said not a press. We couldn't wait for that press release. He was like, he's like, I told y'all. He said, I told you.
You's a clown. That's what you. Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? Huh? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not gonna call you that.
Huh? Look on Facebook Live. Call me a cardboard bishop now. You clown. That's what you are. You clown. That's what you are. Why don't you say what you said on Facebook Live, sucker?
No.
I know y'all missed that. Look. No. So the interesting part, Belmonte is not a witness for the government. That was one of the issues that Whitehead had. Allegedly, there are some recordings that we are eager to hear. And what Whitehead's attorney was arguing, and I'm paraphrasing, was essentially you guys have someone who is your victim or one of your main witnesses, but you're not even going to call him to testify. Well, essentially, the state argued that they really didn't need them. They just need a foundation for the recordings because they have recordings. So they never planned on calling him. And perhaps, I'm going to keep my opinion to myself on why they probably may have done this indictment the way that they did. Yeah, Ronald said, nah, I know Belmonte wishes he is a government informant now because he might have gotten some time off or immunity from the case. And it kind of shows. Okay, Pam, be quiet. Never mind. Let me be quiet. So anyways, I was going to come on tomorrow because there were some updates on this, on one of the other cases. So I'm still going to come on tomorrow about that. This was kind of impromptu live so that we can discuss this indictment. And hopefully I'll be on tomorrow in the afternoon. Lord willing. He does. Yes, he does. I mean, it shows that Belmonte ain't always truthful in his opinion, you know, that he got some scheming going on himself. But I just don't even think, allegedly, but I don't even think that people question that. I don't know any blogger that questioned that. You know? I don't think anybody questioned whether he was. It was like, what does that have to do with you? I think was the biggest thing for me. Because again, as you see, I don't got no problem. I don't have no problem reporting on whoever. But since Belmonte did that interview, and some of the things and how I was sidelined the interview, that's what made me say, you know what, I am gonna go over this indictment, because I knew it was coming. Like I said with Cook, I was like, the way he talking, there's too many holes in this story. Something's going on with him. Trump versus everybody. I can. So you know that's gonna take a minute. It's gonna take a minute. They did this to shut Belmonte down until trial time. You think so? He's not supposed to testify again. The defense may call Belmonte as their witness. That would be interesting. That would be very interesting. Of course, like I said, he probably plead the fifth. He gonna say nothing. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I missed you guys. I got 1,000 things to do today, so I got to get off of here. I hope I answered your questions. You guys, make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Also, join my membership. When I'm not on here, I put articles, I'll put documents, I'll put different things in there. What does Belmonte's? That's an interesting question, because again, if you guys follow me regularly, you know that I did one of the documents we did was a motion. And in that motion, allegedly Belmonte's attorney said that he wasn't going to talk anymore. So that's why I was wondering, like, what's the date of this interview? Perhaps it wasn't live. They just decided to drop it on YouTube that day that we all got it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All these real estate people seem to be taking L's. Oh my gosh, that DJ Envy, that's a whole nother situation too. I heard he filed a motion to dismiss in New Jersey, so we'll see how that case goes. If it's interesting, we might go over that too. But anyway, that is the Belmonte saga for now. We're going to keep you guys updated and informed. Thank you for all 300 and something of y'all that was up in this chat. I appreciate you guys. And I'm going to holler at you guys next time. I got